where you live.
My name is Lowell Newvine, and I live here in the village of Hannibal, and I am currently the historian for the town and village of Hannibal, as well as the historian for the Hannibal Historical Society. I didn't originally grow up here. I grew up in St. Lawrence County, up north of here, and I didn't get to Hannibal until 1974, and I was coming here as a result of my work. I was working for Black Gloucester at the time in Fulton, and I grew up in a small rural area up north, and I'm comfortable with this rural setting, a smaller village type setting, and Hannibal seemed to fit that bill very nicely. And to be well accepted in the community, I thought it should know something about it, so I got involved in the history part of it, and 30-some years later, I'm still digging into it.
Are there any, for people who don't know Hannibal, share a couple of the really unique stories that you've dug up and what makes it special for you?
Okay, well, probably most people don't realize that Hannibal is responsible for the creation of a good-sized city in the state of Wisconsin. Kenosha, Wisconsin was founded by people from the village of Hannibal in 1835. Kenosha, Wisconsin currently is, I believe, is the fourth largest city in Wisconsin, and it got its start with people from Hannibal. So that's one little tidbit. Another tidbit would be that we had a family, the Brewsters, that were in Hannibal in the 1800s. Silas Brewster came here in 1835 to start a dry goods business, and he was a descendant of Reverend William Brewster, who was associated with the Pilgrims and presided over the first Thanksgiving in this country. So the Brewsters were very well known for a number of years. Silas Brewster was involved in the Underground Railroad, and so that's another whole story.
Was this a significant stop on the Underground Railroad?
Yes, it was. Well, it was significant enough. It was very much involved in it. They would try to funnel the fugitive slaves from the south that passed through here. They would get them to either Oswego or Fairhaven, where they could catch a ship and would take them to Canada, where they would be free. So there were a number of people actually involved in the Underground Railroad, but it's not documented on paper as very much. It was more word of mouth because of the fugitive slave laws. You were subject to about $1,000 fine if you got caught harboring a slave. So it was all done on the hush hush.
At some point, if we have the pleasure of visiting your museum, what would you say are some of the most exciting pieces of your collection?
Well, again, going back to establishing Kenosha, Wisconsin, there was a company that established the Western Immigration Company, and we have a stock certificate that was sold. They were sold at $10 a piece. So there's that. We have, after the Civil War, there was the Grand Army of the Republic. Number 147 was here in Hannibal, and we have all their minutes books. She mentioned the ration stamps, of course.
And so you say there was an immigration, it was called an immigration company?
Yeah, it was to promote Western immigration into the West. So, yeah, it was at the time, it was all about moving west. Those are great stories about all this free land that was going to be available out there, and of course everybody was wanting to get on the bandwagon, and so that it was all part of the times.
Fabulous. On a personal perspective, what did you find most endearing, outside of your lovely wife, to have you stay in Hannibal?
Well, again, it's the smaller type community, and basically everybody tends to know their neighbors, and one tends to take care of their neighbors and friends. Everyone is kind of, takes care of each other. It's very personable, and that's, of course, something that I like.
That's great. Let me stop here